You gotta love it. Is this working again? Yes. We have a nice flaky microphone. No flaky people though. And you know, I'm surprised because Mike Salvi is not a shy guy. But I tell you, he must be a modest guy, because when I wanted to introduce him, I had this big long list of things I wanted to mention, and he said, no, just mention TFP and a couple other things.
Mention them, okay?
Well, that's what I was going to do, because there was Fedstock 1, 2, and 3, and there were hundreds of people there marching through the streets of Center City, Philadelphia, with a float. And who was the singer? I forget his name now. Jordan Page. Part of that. And then when I put out my first novel, Atlas Snubbed, he threw it up on the TFP page. Now that's the sort of thing he says when you make people feel part of it. That helped make me feel like I was part of TFP. And now Mike and I, you know, we're all part of the same group. But the big thing he didn't mention, he says, oh yeah, I get about 300-400 people showing up. Bull, sir! I made him spit out beer, I'm sorry. I was there last November when you and Rob Pepe brought Ron Paul into town. You had, what, 4,500 people in Independence Mall? I tell you, this guy is modest, and he just goes beyond belief the things he does. That's why he's won the full Monty Award, because you just don't get better than that. Well, maybe some people do, because our next speaker is a former Montgomery County chair. He's also run for public office, state representative. But you know, when I asked him how he would like to be introduced, I already knew what he was going to say, because I already used the word, he's a troublemaker. He's not just a local troublemaker for people in the Valley Forge area, or in Montgomery County, or in Pennsylvania, or in the United States. He makes trouble around the world. What was it, about a year and a half, 2 years ago? He co-founded with George Donnelly a group called We Won't Fly, where we were going to boycott the airlines until they got rid of those pornographic scanners. And I'm proud to say I was a part of that, but co-founder here, he was on international media. He was in Japan, in Britain, in Russia, Iranian radio, all over the world making trouble. And he's going to tell us today how you can make trouble around the world, how you too can be in Montgomery County. Please join me in welcoming the one, the only, the guy who wants to get out of his chair, but I'm not going to let him, Jim Babb! You're welcome, sir. You got to use the mic.
All right,
it's for
nice.
For the home audience.
It's great to be with you guys. Hope this microphone will work. Poor Beef and Ale, Jesus. You know, the Beef and Ale has been, the Valley Forge Beef and Ale has been such a marvelous place for us. They've offered their hospitality over the years, and you know, today the boiler blew up. What the hell? I mean, I can't even believe it. So our thoughts are with the Valley Forge Beef and Ale and their wonderful staff that has taken such good care of us. We hope for a speedy recovery. I don't think it's burned to the ground, but they've got a recovery period. So anyway, we've adapted, we've relocated to Chadwick's here in Audubon. So thanks for sticking with us. I'd also like to extend my thanks to the people that have helped promote this event. Yeah, like Ken said, the state chairs, Mark Axon, Chuck Moulton down in Virginia. I mean, people all around it. But really, I mean, I'd like to get another round of applause for our Pennsylvania state chair with his extraordinary alert. Nobody has brought such attention to our event. God bless him. The Montgomery County Party, Libertarian Party, enjoys a reputation for being one of the most successful county committees in the state and really even around the country. We succeed at the traditional libertarian activities, running for office. Traditionally, we have the highest percentage of registered libertarians. We have the most candidates. Frequently, we have the most elected libertarians as well. But we also succeed in real-world direct action. We want to free minds and also save asses. So, as I've traveled to speak with other libertarian groups, I've realized more and more that our group here in Montgomery County is very special, and I really appreciate the people here. Many of you here are familiar with some of our activities, but for the online audience, I kind of want to describe our group a little bit. Later we'll describe some of the specific projects, but really what I want to communicate is the format of our group and how we operate, maybe give you some ideas of how you can organize your own community. It was over a decade ago that I found the Montgomery County Libertarians. I had been voting Libertarian since I found Harry Brown in 1996 on C-SPAN. But it was about 10 years ago or more. I was getting these annoying phone calls from the Ed Rendell campaign for governor, wanting to invite me to some dinner fundraiser thing, and I'm like, well, I want to go to the Libertarian candidate fundraiser for governor. So I'm like, gosh, how come they're not calling me? So I did a little research, and I found the campaign website for Ken Krawchuk for governor. There's the Libertarian candidate, and I'm like, okay, let's do it. So I called the campaign. To my surprise, the candidate himself answered the phone. This shows you, how new I was. I thought Libertarian candidates had campaign staffs. I thought I was reaching a campaign office and would be routed appropriately. But anyway, Ken answers the phone. I said, hey, I'm getting these annoying phone calls from the Rendell campaign. Is there a Libertarian event that I can go to? Is there a Krawchuk for governor fundraiser dinner? And Ken's like, well, no, but perhaps you'd like to host one. So I said, well, okay, why not? I've never let my lack of experience stop me from doing something. Just because I don't know what I'm doing, I'll still do it. I don't care. So we hosted a dinner. I think it was at the Nile restaurant in Philly, and maybe we did some other stuff, and I thought that was pretty cool. And I was like, started working with these Libertarians. I'm thinking, yeah, this is pretty good. So anyway, that was a lot of fun. Later, Ken suggested I show up for a meeting of the Montgomery County Libertarians. And I was like, oh, okay. I should have known something was up, because they nominated me as chairman on my first day. So I was like, okay, well, these guys lack standards, but I like them a lot. So, I'm like, I want to work with these guys. So, anyway, the Montgomery County Libertarian Party had already been very successful. I mean, with tons of, relatively, I say tons of elected Libertarians. They had a lot of Libertarian candidates. Maybe a third of the elected Libertarians in the state were in Montgomery County. They were very well known, had already been off to a great start, and I continued to work with them. We developed an educational series called Liberty Forums, and we started bringing in some really interesting speakers. This is where I got to meet incredible people like Larkin Rose, Ed Fortune. I got to learn about groups like Law Enforcement Against Prohibition and Veterans for Peace. I learned about the Federal Reserve, the Liberty Dollar. I mean, it was a nonstop educational process. So since that time, I've grown as a Libertarian, and our group has grown. I think we've become more radical, maybe more diverse, and definitely more effective. We've been able to provide libertarian guidance in this incredible growing freedom movement that we have in Philadelphia. Folks join our group from all different places in their personal journey. I mean, we've got disgruntled Democrats and Republicans. We've got minarchists. We've got anarchists. We've got Ron Paul people. Everyone is welcome. Although we never compromise our libertarian principles, we have an open-door policy, and we work with anyone to promote freedom. And the nice thing about working with a group of hardcore libertarians is that libertarianism is a way of life. It exists in reality. It's not just something that's like printed on a platform on a website somewhere. For instance, our group is not a top-down hierarchy. It's a network of peers. Those that choose to have officer titles really are just people that have volunteered to do certain work. Everything we do starts with an idea from an individual. And although our chairman, Steve Sheets, might provide an agenda at our meeting, anyone can have a project placed on the agenda, whether it's in advance or just show up at our meeting. We would never adjourn a meeting without everyone being heard. Every idea is valid. Every person that shows up will definitely be heard. We believe in free markets as libertarians, but they're not just something we talk about. Our meetings are themselves a free market of ideas. Anyone can bring a proposal to the group. Our members can discuss it, we can perfect it, but ultimately the market value of the operation determines how much support it will get. So there are no top-down decrees. Everything we do is transparent. Communications are uncensored. Meetings are 100% open to all and well publicized on our meetup page. We don't demand dues. All funds raised are contributed voluntarily. We have an outstanding group because we let individuals shine. We are a resource for each other. Our open structure allows us to stay relevant and adapt, and we can take advantage of emerging opportunities. For instance, as Ken mentioned, when the TSA began its scope and growth operation, I wanted to do a local operation. I wanted to bring awareness to what was going on at Philadelphia Airport. I knew immediately that I had a network of people I could count on. So, you know, when you know you have this kind of a network of peers ready to jump in and take advantage of something, it really makes a big difference. So it's nothing I could have done by myself, but only knowing that I had this awesome network made something like We Won't Fly possible. So, I mean, if we were just running candidates, a lot of people would get bored. And as I feel like, you know, some libertarian groups, that's really all they do. And I think there's so much more potential that libertarian groups can do. I personally prefer direct action. Some prefer educational demonstrations, you know, but as corrupt as the electoral system is, it can still be fun to stick a libertarian candidate in there and just raise holy hell in a debate and just turn the whole system upside down and expose it for the fraud that it is. So, although I personally don't recommend voting, you know, running for office, it can be pretty fun, and you can have a lot of fun with it. So, later we'll discuss some of the specific projects that may be easy to replicate, but if you want to sort of build on the success of our libertarian group, here's my advice. Okay, so I've really got just 4 points here. Number one, demonstrate libertarian principles, okay, to attract principled libertarians. That means stay open, transparent, and decentralized. You know, trust in the free market of ideas. 2, work with libertarians at all levels of their development. Encourage those that have just begun their journey. 3, participate in a wide range of libertarian activities, not just elections. Get involved in single-issue alliances. And number 4, have fun while challenging the cult of the omnipotent state.
Yes.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions? Lou?
Jim, just go over some of the stuff that you guys have done. I mean, it's really incredible. I mentioned eminent domain before, but you know, you guys have been doing some incredible events since I've known you guys. It's just
well, and you know, we have some of these some details coming up later in the presentation, but just to give you some ideas of my highlights, what I think of some of our most effective operations are, you know, first of all, we have candidates that can go out there in the world and raise awareness of libertarianism, but I want to make a difference. I want to see a concrete result right now. I don't want a hypothetical, down the road, educational, you know, whatever. So I think one of our most rewarding was in recent years was in Abington Township. We had an eminent domain property grab going on. The troops came out and rallied. In fact, at least half of you here today were there or more. We had wonderful crowds of people that came out to support a property owner who was facing property theft at the hands of the Abington Township politicians. We rallied. We had a lot of fun. We went to their houses of these commissioners. We embarrassed the hell out of them. We called them out as the thieves that they were. We went to their meetings, but we also talked to their neighbors about their criminal activities. It took over 2 years, but we finally won. They gave up, and they said, you know what, just keep the property. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
Okay? That's a real real difference. That's a person who says, you know what, I get to keep my property instead of it being confiscated by the state. So I love that kind of thing. Jury nullification, outreach with the feature pamphlets is one of my personal favorite activities because, again, this is an opportunity to make an immediate impact in somebody's life. Jury nullification is something we'll get into later, but basically it's a way for an individual to stand up against tyrannical laws and say, you know what, that law is bogus, not guilty. So we have a strategy that helps promote that idea and has actually kept people out of jail. We've got a checkpoint nullification we did last summer, which was a lot of fun, where we, really a couple guys with signs and about $50 worth of materials, we shut down a suspicionless checkpoint. They call it a DUI checkpoint, but it's really just hassling travelers. And so we were able to basically nullify that, and from our calculations, we kept about 10 or 12 people out of jail that night. That's a real-world solution. That's not hypothetical. It might be small numbers, but it's measurable, it's reproducible, and it's concrete. It's a guy going home to his family instead of going to jail, and to me that's huge. So yeah. But we've had all kinds of activities. We'll get a chance to talk more about them later. But those are just some of my highlights.
Jim, I was going to ask you, the TSA thing. Now, I was there alongside of you, and we went out to scope out Philadelphia International in advance to make sure that we get where we would be and everything. I don't know about you, but I was scared half to death. What about you?
Was I scared at the airport?
Yeah.
Not when you got 50 of your buddies with cameras.
No, the first time when it was just me and you.
Oh, when we scoped it out.
Yeah.
That's right. We did some test. Right. We did some test pamphleting and videoing just to see what their reaction would be. I guess I don't remember being overly concerned, but I guess we did prove that they actually can't stop you. And that was good. We've certainly had fun on multiple occasions at the airport since then, doing pamphleting and raising awareness. In fact, I was just there recently to pick up an exchange student who was coming to visit with, and I saw the one cop that had tried to hassle me for videotaping while I was there. And I'm like, oh, there's that guy. Like he's still standing around doing nothing over there. Like, but anyway, no, I think the key though is when you're going to a place where authority figures, are sort of out of control, you need your friends, you need cameras. Take a group, you're going to be okay. Any other questions? All right, well, also let me just take this opportunity before I hand the mic back to Ken to just say, thank you to everybody that's coming. And Lou's kicking some butt up in Wilkes-Barre, and I've told him, but everybody should know, if he mysteriously shows up suicided, I will avenge him, okay? Oh, boy. He's taking on judges, he's taking on the police. These are not trifle issues, and guaranteed these bogus authority figures are getting their panties in a twist. So congratulations to Lou, and of course Mike Salvi. God, so many cool events we do together, and I told this. It's like, what? Whenever myself or Mike get involved in something, it's generally going to be a success. But put us together, okay? And we're freaking unstoppable. So I will work with Mike Salvi on any project at any time. So,
always working.
All right, thank you. All right, Ken?
I still have a couple minutes to
I don't know. I don't have anything else to say. So back to you.
Well done, sir.
Thank you.